I am DYANAROZAY, and I bring a unique commentary to your favorite reality TV shows and whatever is popping on social media. If you are not a subscriber, please become one. Hit that notification bell too, that way you don't miss any of my videos. I go by DYANAROZAY on all platforms, and I appreciate every single one of y'all for rocking with me. What's up, Supreme Team? Welcome to the channel. Can y'all hear me? Come on in. If you can hear me, put your city and your state into the chat. Hold on one second. I need to clean off my screen. One second. But you guys come in. Thank you, Lady D Keys. Anyone that you see with a purple wrench behind their name, they are here to make sure that you have a good time in the chat, okay? So go ahead, put your city, your state, your country, your island, your territory, wherever you are from into the chat, and I will shout you out real quick. I hope you guys are having a fine Monday. Okay. Y'all, I couldn't do it. I had to get my twist back in. I told you I was going to get my twist back in. So I had to spend all day yesterday doing that. But y'all come in. Let's see. I see Seattle, Washington. What is up? Atlanta, Georgia. What is up? Make sure everyone hits the like button too, okay? Hit the like button on your way in. And do me a favor, if there's anyone out there who would like to become a moderator for the channel, please hit me up on IG and I will, be happy to hand you a wrench, okay? But we are talking about Atlanta housewives. Come on in, everyone. Hit the like button, share the video. Make sure your notification bell is on. What else? Become a subscriber if you are not already, okay? All the things. What's up, Gloria? Happy belated birthday to Gloria. Thank you for coming in and supporting, girl. Gloria is one of the day one. She's always here to support. Does not matter if it is a recorded video or not. She shows up. She says hello. I appreciate you so very much, child. Okay, so come on in, child. I don't know, something's off today, but I'm gonna work through it no matter what. Okay, I don't know, something's not hitting right for me in on this camera. But anyway, let's get to it, y'all. I'm not gonna keep you. We are talking. This is episode 3 of the Housewives Sweet 16 season, and I liked it. There are so many people. What's up, Uppity? Y'all know Uppity has her own channel. Make sure that you are following her over on YouTube, child, because so much is going on the YouTube streets. You just never know. But make sure you guys are following her. She does excellent content. Very, very smart woman. Okay. Come on in, Jenny B. Thank you. Anyway. What I was going to say was, I really like this season. I like the girls, even though some of the girls are coming in hot. You know what they are giving me? They are giving me Kenya Moore, because if y'all don't remember Kenya Moore, they didn't know how to play her on the show. And Kenya said, F it, I'll be the villain. Okay. And for many, many years, she played the villain. It's my eyebrows. I got new eyebrows, and that's what it is. I can tell now. Okay. They are all comfortable with, saying what they got to say, doing what they got to do. And I love it, because not everybody is comfortable with being a villain on reality TV, especially when you're new, because, that follows you for a little bit. Now, Kenya Moore, again, superb. She was so superb that she played the villain right on up off the set, right on out of there. Okay, so when they were filming Sweet 16, she villainized herself right the hell up off of the show. But hopefully she will come back, because it looks like Britt got a whole lot of shit going on. Okay, let's see. You're welcome, Gloria. Listen, as many times around the sun as we can get, girl. Okay. So anyway, I got a ton of notes. So let's get to it. And yeah, first scene First scene is Britt and her fiance. I got a little new format here too. It's Britt and her fiance, Michael. They are having dinner or getting dinner ready for the family. It's actually his family because it sounds like nobody F's with Britt on her side of the family, okay? But Michael's family, his brother, sister, the kids are coming over for dinner. And this is where we find out that Britt used to be one of those video vixens. She was in the videos. She was doing the magazine layouts for like the rappers and all that good stuff. And she said, yeah, she dated Rick Ross. She's dated several popular athletes, ballers. But she said when she met Michael, that's when she met a real man. Now, I don't know who she was trying to hit with that little phrase, because it definitely was somebody, but she decided that was going to be the person she settled down with. I hope that, all goes well with them, but you can tell that they got some things that they're playing a tug of war with. While Britt is welcoming in the family, everybody's sitting down to have dinner, and Britt brings up Kenya Moore. Now, if y'all saw episode 1, you would have, at least I did, Britt brought up a conversation. Well, I shouldn't say she brought it up. It was Kenya and I believe Cynthia who were talking about their divorce, or Kenya and Drew were talking about their divorce. Britt inserted herself into that conversation and started taking inventory on which of the ladies were married and who was divorced. So she was like, you're divorced, right? You're divorced, right? She kept doing that to pretty much everyone that was in the circle, which was weird, by the way. It was weird as hell. However, when Kenya's like, oh, are you divorced? Because she's looking at a finger. She has a diamond on her finger with no band. So Kenya was actually following up on a conversation she started. I'm not sure why she doesn't see it that way, but she keeps bringing up Kenya Moore's name every chance she gets. And at the dinner table, she says, yeah, Kenya Moore better keep it cute. She had a conversation about me and my marriage and, don't start none, won't be none. Britt, you're starting it. You're starting it. You are asking for smoke. You started it there. You had a conversation with Kelly where you basically let people know you want to smoke with Kenya. You want smoke with Kenya, and now I believe you did threaten Kenya, because everybody on set, everybody on that cast said they don't appreciate the fact that Britt wasn't punished too, that she did something she shouldn't have. So I'm just going to say right now, I am in Kenya's court just by the way your mouth keep running, because everything that I've seen with Kenya, she ain't never mentioned Britt. Not once. Not once. Okay. Anyway, she goes from that story. That's the first thing she mentions. And then the sister asks her brother, how are things going? Or, what you guys got going on with the wedding and stuff like that. He said, well, we are trying to have a baby. His sister says, when? His sister's name is Natasha. She's the one at the bottom. He said, when are you trying to have the baby? And he was like, right away. Then Britt says, not until we get a wedding ceremony. Y'all married, child. You can have the baby now if you wanted to. Anyway, she said, not until we get this marriage ceremony. That's when Michael says, yeah, we're not going to talk about that right here, right now. So I don't know what's going on. It probably has to do with money, but he's definitely being real coy about some things. And you can tell. Give me 1 second, you guys. All right, sorry about that. Keep hitting the like button. Thank you very much, Lady D Keys, for putting that up there. Keep hitting the like button, okay? So he's being real coy, and actually he is not one to, you know what I'm saying? He's not going to let Britt railroad him or talk over him. When he's looked at his sister, he said, we ain't having that conversation, and we're damn sure not having it at this table. So he let me know right then and there, Britt, you got a lot going on. You really do. But he's not one to get railroaded. Okay. So come on in, everybody. Anyway, after all that conversation is had, Britt tells Natasha, let's go downstairs and talk for a minute. And you get to see more of her home. It's really luxury living. You can tell she has a lot of money. Okay. Anyway, that's when she starts talking about her insurance business. And she tells a story of why she got into the insurance business. She said at the end of the day, her dad had a $2 million life insurance policy, but he was transitioning jobs. So I guess the policy was with his employer. And because he was transitioning out, the employer had the insurance company said, no, that's not something that we're going to pay out, because he had his foot in the door of another company. Okay. So they did not pay on the policy. She said she had to do a GoFundMe to bury her father. And she said, excuse me, that left her in a really bad place. But I guess after she stopped balling and all that stuff with all the athletes and whatnot, she started her business. She tried to make it a family business. Her sisters were involved. She had to fire one. One quit. They don't really fuck with Britt like that. You can tell. Natasha said, well, you're all about family. So we got to figure out a way for you and your sisters to come together. We shall see. Okay. That was that scene. Moving on. Come on in, everyone. Welcome. I appreciate that. If y'all could just hit the like button for me. That's it. Also become a subscriber if you are not already, okay? And I appreciate it if y'all put some feedback into the chat as well. Moving on to scene 2. This is Porsha and Kelly. So Kelly is the newbie who asked Porsha, or at least told her, because she had been talking around, why'd you take that girl's husband, right? So these two are having a sit down to talk about that moment. Porsha orders a drink. It is a strawberry Hennessy margarita. She said that she needed Hennisha inside of her in order to have this meeting with with Kelly, because she said that she don't know what personality she's going to get with Kelly. She said Kelly has a lot of personalities. She doesn't know which one she's going to get. So she's definitely just hoping that the one with common sense is the one who shows up to lunch for her today, right? When Kelly comes in, she's welcoming, pleasant. She sees what Porsha's drinking, but she declines having a drink of her own. She's just going to take like an iced tea, okay? Because she said at the end of the day, she got to keep both of her eyes on Porsha, because she knows that when Porsha has one too many, P. Willie might come out. Now, so this is letting me know that Kelly knows that she has a mouth on her. She says what she wants to say. She already said that, but she's also not going to let someone take advantage of her, right? So she's sitting there in this booth, but she's not going to drink yet because she doesn't know if she's going to have to fight Porsha physically. This is literally what she says in the scene. Anyway, after Porsha lets her know that she has many personalities, Kelly on screen, or excuse me, on her confessional says, well, I have as many personalities as Porsha has men. So again, these two, just letting me know, when Porsha said that she's bipolar, it's letting me know that there's a love-hate relationship with these two right away. And that if there is fights that are going to go down, it is going to be between the two of them. They will probably be like Nene and Phaedra were in the beginning, where every once in a while it looked like they could be cool, but then they would bump heads again, okay? Or Nene and Candy. So both of them, right? But that's what she's saying. Anyway, they end up having a conversation about the party and what was said to her. And Kelly said, listen, Shamia told me to address you, right? I did say, didn't that lady take that woman's husband? But she told me to address you. So I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Porsha's making all kinds of faces, gulping hard, looking crazy. But then she kind of turns it on Shamia and she said, listen, it's hard for me to believe that my best friend would tell you to address me with that bullshit at her party, at her birthday party, right? Now, I don't know if they cut this funny or what, because they give us a flashback In the flashback, you hear Shamia say, these are the people that'll be coming to the party, right? My best friend, Porsha, she's going through a divorce. And then Kelly chimes right on in there with, oh, did she take that woman's husband? Right after that, though, we heard Shamia say, hold up, you coming kind of hard. No, that's not how that happened. He was very much not in a relationship when Porsha and him got together. And then she goes on to say, Porsha's my friend, you're my friend. I want y'all two to talk because I don't want to get into the middle of anything, but you are coming in way too fucking hot. She said it to both her, Kelly, and to Britt. And that's when they started talking about Porsha's baby daddy, right? Did I miss something? Put it in the chat because I don't know how Kelly left that entire part out. I would think that when Porsha was like, that doesn't make sense to me, I would think that Kelly would say, well, just so you know, your friend didn't make it out like it was, she tried to check me or whatever the case may be. The reason why she told me to talk to you is because this is what she said. She didn't do none of that. She kind of just let Porsha float out there in the wind, which was not good. But anyway, Porsha says, at the end of the day, I don't think my friend said anything to hurt me. I don't think that was her intent. And then you hear Kelly say, I don't think that was her intent either. Moving forward. Anyway, in confessional, Porsha does put on the heat against Shamia again. This time she said that she doesn't want to think that Shamia set her up to be ambushed by a little troll. And she's calling Kelly the troll because she's short. But she said, I hope that my best friend wouldn't set me up to be ambushed by a troll. Okay. When they are back at the dinner table, though, they are laughing, giggling, living it up. Again, Porsha lets her know, girl, we got a bipolar friendship. We're going to have our ups and our downs. I can tell you that right now, but they're giggling and laughing it off. And that is when Kelly orders herself a drink because now she feels safe, child. Anyway, it was a moment. Moving on to the next scene, which is Kenya, Cynthia, Angela go meet Drew Sidora at her studio session. She is in the stude. She is singing her ass off. It sounds like it's a number one single to me, but I love this little scene just a little bit because it gave us a little more detail. Now, I know that Porsha got a whole lot of heat first episode, even hell, the second episode. But in this one, Kenya and really all the girls are letting Drew know you were a little out of pocket. There was a way to handle this and you didn't fucking do it. You didn't do it. And so right now you need to figure out how to make this right. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, they come in. Drew singing. She comes out of the booth. They're all telling her that they love the song. They're like, this sounds like a love song, Drew. Is it a love song? Is it a love song? Drew's like, no, it's not a love song, in my opinion. She said it is a getting over the love of your life song. Hold on. Okay. Got a little tickle in my throat. Hopefully I'm not getting sick. But anyway, Drew said it is a getting over a breakup song. Everybody else is saying it's a love song. Cynthia shares a little bit about her breakups in the past. Angela Oakley, married to Charles, the basketball player, talks a little bit about the love of her life, Charles Oakley. And she is saying, listen, y'all have no idea what I had to do to make sure that that man was being faithful to me. And she talked about how she was paying off the concierge, the maintenance man, everybody, okay? Getting everybody involved to make sure that that man was on the straight, okay? Anyway, after all that goes down, Kenya's like, cut the shit. Let's talk about what we came to talk about. And that is, have you talked to Dennis? And first she asked, where is Dennis? Where's Dennis? And she's like, oh, yeah, he was supposed to be in the studio today. this is Drew Sidora. He's supposed to be in the studio today, but yeah, I don't know where he's at. And sure, so have you talked to him? This is where Drew lies. Unfortunately, I don't know why people don't realize how exquisitely shady Bravo production teams are, because they will put some shit out on you in a second. I heard the girl from Married to Medicine say, y'all know they would show it if, girl, come back next season. I promise you they're going to show uncut footage. But anyway, Drew says she's never talked to Dennis. She rarely talks to Dennis on the phone. She only texts, okay? I don't know why people would think that. Boom. As soon as the words are, while the words are still coming out of her mouth, production is showing a scene where you can see Drew answer the phone. Her voice gets soft. Hey, bro. Hey, Dennis. Dennis is written across the phone. They zoomed in on the screen of her damn phone to show you that Drew was talking to Dennis. I was like, well, what's going on? Okay. So after she does that, she says, well, Kenya said, did you talk to Porsha since all of that shady shit went down at Shamia's party? She went, well, I haven't been able to catch up with Porsha. We haven't. No, she said, I've texted Porsha. I've texted him. I haven't seen her or spoken to her on the phone. And then they show her in confessional reading the text. While she's reading the text, production put the words from the text on the screen. And it is the most surface level interaction you could imagine. Hey, Porsha, can we talk? Portia's like, real busy in New York. How about we have dinner? Sure. Porsha responds back, made a reservation at Nobu, 9:45. Does that work for you? Yes, great. None of the things that Drew was saying at Shamia's party was listed on that screen. You would have thought she was like, girl, need to talk to you about Dennis. Please give me a call. And Porsha was avoiding her. She made no effort whatsoever to get the words out of her mouth. That is when Cynthia's like, bitch, I even caught up with Porsha and I wasn't even looking for it like that. So clearly they are again making Drew out to be like she's lying. Okay. Yes, she definitely seemed like she was being vague on purpose. Exactly. That's what I said. I was like, production is telling a completely different story, Drew, than what you are saying out loud. And even what some of, I guess, the fans that are watching the show, people aren't catching what production is doing here, but she's not being forthcoming whatsoever. Anyway, at the end of the day, Cynthia tries to give an example and was like, listen, when Kenya had her little movie deal, she wanted to use my baby daddy, Leon. She came to me. I gave her my blessing. Okay. It was all good. She was like, you need to talk to Porsha with your fucking mouth. Okay. Stop sending text messages because it's disrespectful not to. You look like you got a lot going on. And she said, at the end of the day, baby daddies hit different. Okay. Then Kenya chimes in again and said, why isn't Dennis clearing this shit up? Because right now the entire town is talking about you like you're a whore. Now, at the end of the day, y'all, again, if y'all watch the first episode, it was Shamia who really was going after Drew. She was like, everybody has been contacting me saying they see you in the club booed up with Dennis. That was the first thing. Then she said, they said y'all had on matching outfits. That was the second thing. And then she took her phone, put it in Drew Sidora's face and said, they said you and Dennis were holding hands on the outside. So when Kenya's saying, girl, people are talking about you like you're some kind of whore, she ain't lying. Those were all the things that were being said at the party. Drew is like, whore? Oh my God, why would you say that? Cynthia's in confessional saying, child, a hoe is almost a compliment, but a whore you can't come back from. Anyway, the three of them, Angela, Kenya, and Cynthia, are like, you got some work to do, Drew. Fix it, okay? You also need to follow up with Shamia, because it sounds like Shamia has some hard-ass feelings about what you got going on. that's when Angela chimes in and said she also is trying to see if she can work things out with Shamia, because Shamia is denying, saying, Drew, are you effing Dennis? And then we get the flashback. Shamia said nothing of the sort. She said, are you dating Dennis? Now, are you effing Dennis? So when Shamia got pissed and said that, Angela, you are a liar, and I'm not going to sit here and have this conversation with you, she was right. It was, you were lying. That's not what was said. But everybody felt that way. Even Kenya was like, she did say that. No, you all felt that way. Y'all all thought something was going on because of how Drew was handling herself. Shamia coming out and saying that kind of, kept pushing the button in. So anyway, long story short, child, we shall see what happens next. Keep coming in. What's up, review hour? I see you. Hey, Lisa Love. Thank you for coming in and supporting the channel. We're moving on to Shamia. In this scene, we have Miss Shamia, who is meeting with her sisters at the Sterling residence, okay? They are up there at the big house, and Shamia is leaning on her sisters. I don't know if they are older. I think they're older than her. And she's telling them that her journey, what she's going through with her youngest daughter, and her health journey has been a lot on her. It is weighing on her, but she's just trying to, do everything she can to keep it together. She thanks them for, filling in the gap when she wasn't able to pick up her older daughter from school because she was at the hospital with surgeries and other things. And that's really it. She also lets them know that she is already moving forward with another surrogate so that she can grow her family. So it was a nice little scene, just giving us a little more insight on Miss Shamia. Shamia, I'm just going to call her the Queen of Atlanta. That's what it sounds like. She knows everybody. She is loved by almost everybody. She has friendships out the wazoo, lots of connections. And the girl knows how to handle herself. So I really respect this new group of girls, that nobody is playing a victim, okay? Except for Drew. Drew does go back and forth, child. Even Kenya said, don't play the victim, Drew. You have done a lot to people. So you end up getting your ass caught in a sling. It is what it is. But I do think that Drew is trying to take a little more of the villain role on this season, okay? All right. Who do we have next? Oh, Angela and Charles, y'all. Now, if you watched my last review, I told you that Charles was giving me Marceau vibes, minus the breast, minus the hips. He does have hair. What else? He got more swag and way more money than Marceau. But when it comes to shutting Angela down, he is an expert, okay? He is a samurai sword carrying, shut the up, shut it down type of person, okay? He is very old and cantankerous. He's set in his ways, and he does not really give two shits about all the frou-frou that Angela has going on sometimes, child. What that man doesn't like his women. Whoo, child. Anyway, I don't know a lot about him. I do remember him getting kicked out the game. I remember that being a news article. But outside of that, I appreciate that y'all are bringing this to my TV screen, okay? So listen, we got Miss Angela. She is going to one of her investment properties. She's trying to get it all worked out. Charles pulled up just in time to pick up the very last box. To pick up the very last box out the truck. Angela had to carry all that shit in by herself. She didn't even wait on that man. She was just like, I got it, right? And she is angry from the second he pulls up. I won't say angry, but she's definitely annoyed. You can see it all over her face, rolling her eyes like, you know what I'm saying? And when she did it, I was like, child, you better pipe down before you get yourself in trouble. But anyway, she's putting the stuff in the house. She's, looking for some sort of, hey, babe, something. She likes an outward appearance of affection. And he's not giving it. He gets out the car and he looking around like, how much money did I sink into this shit, right? He said, you need some help. She was like, I put half of it in the house. He's like, pipe down. I don't really give two shit. He goes to pick up one box and she was like, heavy, ain't it? Child, bye. I'm laughing because I'm like, child, he does not care. He's not putting any effort into this. They get in the house and she's like, she wants him to tell her that she's done a good job. Okay. Very much. I'm not going to call, Tisha's little Tisha, no matter what. Angela and Charles are going to be big Tisha and Marcel. They doing it bigger, okay? But they are definitely given the same kind of vibes. So she wants him to tell her that she did a good job. She was like, how do you like it and what's going on? And he's like, it's nice. The last time I was here, y'all working on the grass. What do you think of the grass now? There is no compliment coming behind that. He's like, it needs some water and some more seeds and some sun. Whatever we paid on that damn grass, why didn't y'all have people coming out here watering it and doing what it was supposed to do to keep it growing, because the shit looks awful, is what he really wanted to say, but he bit his tongue. Now he's in the bathroom. He's checking the plumbing. He turns on the water. This is also pissing Angela off. And it's pissing her off because she feels like he's judging her without saying anything, like he's walking through to see what she did right, what she didn't. A lot of us have had relationships like that, so don't act like you don't recognize it. So she's angry by putting the thoughts in her head. You know what I'm saying? She got the thoughts running in her head, like, why'd you turn the water on? You know what I'm saying? And he like, listen, it will not be long before we get toward the end of the season where that man say, I paid for this motherfucker. He's going to tell her that this money that she's spending is his damn money. Okay. I know she said she's a millionaire and she gets it on her own, but she also said that those properties were bought with his money. Okay. Those properties were bought with his money, and she wants him to see her as doing a good job so that they can be partners. He ain't there yet though, boo. And maybe putting them on camera to have that conversation ain't the right thing to do. Okay. But it doesn't matter. Moving on to the next part. So now she is talking about how she wants to do a vow renewal, a recommitment to their marriage. And he's looking at her like, it ain't going to happen. But she said he's punishing her because he doesn't want to put more money into anything big until these properties are done and sold. Okay. So she's like, don't you think that we deserve to have a marriage ceremony? And he has this half-ass smile smirk on his face, like, you are doing way too much. But okay. You know what I'm saying? If y'all were paying attention, y'all know that he wasn't smiling at her like, baby, I love you. I'll do anything for you. Absolutely. Let's recommit. What day, what time? He ain't doing none of that shit. He's just sitting there silent, like, I have no idea what this is. But in the same way, Marceau shut that shit down in Vegas. Tisha, you should get up. Don't do it, Tisha. Don't do it, big Tisha, because listen, big Marceau ain't fucking with you like that. He don't care. So anyway, she says that. Then finally she says, I saw Wendy the other day. Wendy is her therapist. And this is the first time you see him like take a breath. He does a whole, like, I cannot stand Wendy. You can tell. So she's like, what? He was like, yeah, it's something about her paying $3,000 a month to see Wendy. She went, I don't pay $3,000 a month. What do you have against therapy? What do you have against therapy? And this is where we get the story that during the first year and maybe a few months of their marriage, they ended up separating and living apart because Charles had got ejected out of Madison Stadium. He was coming in to see the game the way anybody who buys a ticket would see the game. He was sitting on the bleachers, on the seats, and the owner looked down, saw him, and had him banned from Madison Square Garden. He is not allowed to even go anymore. He walks out with her because it's embarrassing. You got your new wife of a year and some change. You think that you're about to go in, shout some shit to the players, dap it up. and he gets kicked out. He becomes the main storyline. And she said, I tried to help him heal from that, but there was no healing him. I had to move the hell out of the house because the man was so god awful. Okay. Then she started going to therapy. It sounds like by herself. And it sounds like right now she is in therapy by herself. Okay. And she said that at the end of the day, he doesn't like that she's in therapy. They've been married for 10 years now. But she said therapy is what gets her through. That was in 2017, by the way, when he got it. I think when he got ejected from that game. Anyway, she says, Charles, I think it'll be really great with everything that we've been through in that moment, where we were living apart. We have recommitted ourselves to each other. It would be really great if we could actually do a recommitment ceremony to show how far we've come and that we are going to move forward with the next 10 years. And this is when Charles says, that's a long time. And she went, what do you mean it's a long time? You don't think we're going to get through the next 10 years? He went, you never know. You never know. Baby, when I tell you that man loves to pop Angela's balloon, he takes the wind out of her sails every damn scene. It does not matter what the question, what the statement, okay? Y'all keep being y'all, okay? Stay out the comment section. Don't go to anybody's YouTube page. I'm telling you that right now. Y'all done made it 10 long years. You're going to stay married if you stay out the comments, okay? That's my advice, all right? All right? Moving on. Let's see what else. What did y'all got to say? Nothing. We're going to move on then. Let's move on to this one right here, Miss Drew Sidora. Holy King moly. Oh, my God. Drew Sidora meets with her divorce attorney. And this is where we find out all the shit we already knew about her and Ralph, but she ties it up in a nice little bow with the divorce attorney. And actually, she didn't do a whole lot of the talking. The divorce attorney is the one who told us everything. Okay. But she is there. She said that they have been divorcing since 2023. And that in the last court date they had in front of a judge, Ralph abandoned his attorney's child, showed him in court by himself, put Drew Sidora on the stand, and started asking Drew questions. I don't even know what to say. Drew, how is that possible, girl? She said, I was so shocked. What was he asking you? I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Look, Drew is Mia. Well, listen, her attorney actually backed this up. So I'm going to say that Drew was telling the truth here. When they both said they was shocked that man showed up in court without attorneys and that he was the one asking all the questions of Drew on the stand like he's a damn lawyer. He's no Bob Whitfield. Is he out of his mind? Yeah, me neither. Drew has a whole lot going on. I agree with y'all in the chat about Drew. But anyway, the lawyer points out that she still doesn't have any information about what the hell Ralph is doing with his finances. She said that man gave her a stack of damn paperwork that was as thick as the Bible. And she said, I got halfway through the shit, and it was mostly all of Drew's financial information, bank accounts, all kinds of business stuff. She said, I still don't know what that man makes, and he is literally holding us up. You could have been divorced yesterday if we would have had the financial piece of this, okay? How does Drew have been married for as long as she has, 2 kids with this man, was going to let him adopt her son and still not know what this man does for a living? He is basically paying all of the bills in the house with Drew's bank accounts and making it seem like he got it. Because he just said on his YouTube page, he pays for everything. Drew, what are you doing, ma'am? Anyway, the lawyer said, well, here's a heads up. The judge actually sealed your case. However, once she reads through these documents, it's going to be unmuted, and that's where everything is going to come out. Then Drew said, Like what? What's going to come out? Drew, she has a way of doing this Pollyanna thing. I know some people hate it. I actually like it because it lets me know that Drew is very cunning. Okay, she's a cunning lady. But she said, what's going to come out? She said, well, we're going to find out that he's a serial cheater, that he's a thief, that he likes to sex women, that he cheats all the time, that he was tracking you, I guess put tracking devices on her shit, and that he was also stalking her. So she said all of that is going to be a part of those documents, and they're going to be leaked. So YouTube is going to have a field day. I know that Ralph is currently on YouTube. You might want to get off of that shit right now, okay? But yeah, she said at the end of the day, you have no more privacy once this shit is unmuted, okay? Let's see. The Ditzy Blonde, yes, she does this Pollyanna thing where, and you can tell she's acting because I'm telling you, she's the same exact person she was on The Game with Med School and them. So yeah, Drew, we've seen this act before, child. We know where you're getting it from. Okay, so moving on. I don't know. I think this is a scene with Shamia again, and really, it was a short little cute scene where, let me put her picture back up, where she has taken her daughter to the hospital. She's going to get her tonsils out, and she's just letting everybody know that her daughter's super excited about being in the hospital, but her and her husband have been in the hospital so many times with their youngest that they're very apprehensive. They're walking in just like full of nerves and emotions, whereas their oldest daughter is like, yay, I finally get to go to the hospital. So it was, just a cute little scene showing the babies, okay? But also how the parents are living, okay? So come on in, make sure everybody hit the like button, please, and thank you. We are talking about Porsha and her damn mama. Child, the mamas are always messing up the relationships. I did have to give an honorable mention to Porsha's feet. She has some of the longest toes. She has the longest toes ever with that damn white nail polish on there, baby. Ooh, Porsha, I almost called her Tosha. Porsha, oh my goodness. Anyway, her and her mom are doing a spa day, and she said her mom is taking her out, and she's been her rock since all the things, right, with her and Simon. So she said she really just wanted to have a moment where she can talk to her mom. Now, you would think that her and her mom are having honest discussions, but I want to say that Porsha's discussion with everybody else, with Kenya, with the producers in Confessional, all of those conversations sound a little more honest than the one that she's having with her mother. Her mother is there solely to be like a listening ear and to spout some shit off, but she ain't spouting shit off based on what she knows. You know what I'm saying? Because Porsha's not being 1,000 with her, in my opinion. She probably learned some things watching the TV show, is what I think. Okay, but anyway, Porsha is there with her mother, and her mother says, I thought Simon was your protector. I thought he was always going to be your protector. And then you hear Porsha says, me too. I thought so too. And this is when I was like, you lie to your mom a lot about that relationship. I can tell just through that, right? If y'all ever saw Porsha, Simon, and Diane on social media, Simon would call Diane mom, which always shocked the shit out of me because what now? You're as old as Diane. I'm not older, child. I'm gonna need you to just call her Diane like the rest of us. But anyway, Porsha starts talking about how things are not amicable at all with Simon. Like she can't even talk to Simon. Once that divorce was filed, Simon said, here's my ass to kiss. Okay. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't shit with me. We are at war is what she said she's feeling with Simon, as opposed to even with Cordell. There was a moment where me and Cordell were able to mediate through lawyers. We were able to talk to each other. without the lawyers, I should say. But she said, I can't even do that with Simon. Simon doesn't want any parts of me. I am his full-blown enemy at this point. Then she went into a whole story about how she even tried to follow the way of Simon's culture and reach out to the elders in his home country. And she said they told her, let the courts take care of it. Get the fuck off my phone. Stop playing on my phone, Porsha. Let them courts handle this shit. I don't care, is what she said. She said, I called 2 of them, and it's really disappointing that they won't take my calls. Girl, no, it ain't. No, it's not. Listen, this is hilarious. I'm going to tell y'all something. Because when people are always like, you're on Porsha's side. No, I'm just not on Simon's side. Y'all know how when Black men are in interracial relationships and something awful happens to them, and then when you read social media and you look in the comments, there's a bunch of Black women saying, this isn't our fight. We're not a part of this. Don't leave a comment. Don't say shit. Stay out of this. He chose what he chose. That's how I feel about Simon. This ain't my fight. Simon lived a good life, okay? Doing a whole lot of shit. This is his 5th wife. 4th one, legitimate. He loves a big ass and a smile. They showed a flashback of Simon looking at Porsha's ass in the pool, okay? When we watched that scene umpteen years ago, whenever it happened, all of us was like, that creepy motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of us was like, oh, he's so nice. We all was like, what is happening? And Fallon, get that man in the house or send him someplace to a bar. He shouldn't be standing or sitting poolside looking at those women's asses. That's what I thought. My husband wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, my friend's coming over. Where are you going? Okay, to the basement. Where? Tell me what room in the house, or get out. One or the other, but you ain't sitting around being one of us. It just can't happen that way. When I saw the scene, I was like, that's a man who likes a certain thing, okay? He is a wealthy man who likes a certain thing, and Porsha was one of those things. And if y'all remember, when he did make that announcement, him and Fallon were divorcing, do y'all remember all the women that came out in front of Porsha? Oh, he called me, I was with him, he bought me. Y'all remember all that shit? None of those women look like the women who was going to bat for him. None of them. Those women were all 20-something, 30-something. He likes a certain type with a big fat ass, okay? The way these older women are in the comment section, get that man back there. Child, good the night. No. Leave that man alone. Let him get the karma that he deserves, okay? Like attracts like. Simon and Porsha, probably the same. Porsha just outdid Simon. It's possible that he's just a little bit older, okay? And his mind might not be where it used to be. I know somebody who knows one of his wives, the old wives, and they didn't have a whole lot nice to say about that man, okay? Please. Okay, the way we will, from Donald Trump down, let them people have it. Shit, who cares? Anyway, she has that whole conversation with her mom, and then she ends up having a conversation about Shamia with her mom, where she's explaining to her that she just met up with Kelly, and this is what happened at the party, and Kelly talking about blah, 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 and that man. And her mother said, beware of the person that beware of the dog that brings you the bone. I know Shamia is your friend, but you better watch her, okay? Watch her. She might not be your friend. And Porsha's like, what? Mom, I hear you, Porsha. And that's how it ends. That's not the best scene to leave with, child. It's not the best scene to leave with at all. Anyway, look, lies and more lies, you ain't lying. Nada. No other woman got a settlement. Okay? The children, all of it. Nothing. These people live very average lives unless they had something else going on. But anyway, Moving on to the last scene. Please hit the like button, please, and thank you. Become a subscriber if you are not already. Last scene is Miss Kelly. Miss Kelly is having a charity event at, where is this? Did I write down the store? Ballman purse store, right? So she's somewhere in the mall, it looks like. It didn't look like it was a standalone. Anyway, she is in there and she's hosting this charity event for OI, which is brittle bone disease in children, which is an amazing cause, by the way. And I really loved that they brought this to the show. Like, I'm glad that this wasn't a scene that they cut out. So Black women being mamas is important to me to see on television. I love to see it. I love it. And I also love to see how they are taking care of their children and doing charities and events outside of that. So it was a beautiful scene within itself, that part, right? But she's like, listen, this is something that happened to her own children. 3 out of 4 of her children have OI, or brittle bone syndrome, where the bones can easily break. Okay. She said that she noticed that when one of her babies had something wrong with their arm and she didn't know what was going on. I think she said she was in Chicago, but she drives the baby to the hospital, and immediately the doctors, because this is what happens when you go to a doctor or a hospital or a pediatrician, if they suspect it is child abuse, you're not leaving out of the hospital with the baby until a doctor clears it. So the first thing the doctor has to do is report it, and they did. They report the incident. They take the baby in one room. Typically, they take the mama in another one. She said she's sitting there waiting, fighting for her life, trying to get back to her child. And she's surrounded by police. She's surrounded by police. The CPS team is there, the whole 9. Finally, there is a doctor who looks into the child's eyes, and he sees a blue ring around the eye, the iris, I think she said, or maybe behind the eye. And he immediately said, this is OI. This is what's wrong with the baby. And that was the only reason she was able to walk out the door with her child. Imagine if she had that child in CPS, and then the other child presented symptoms and she was afraid to take that one to the hospital. There's so much shit that goes wrong, especially with skin like ours, like mine, okay? And when you take your child to the doctor. But she said after that moment, she knew that she had to fight for rights and bring more awareness to it. So this is why we are here. Bravo to Kelly, okay? But we do get this scene between, well, first, let me say this. Drew Sidora, who I did say was cunning, okay? Porsha Williams shows up with her child. Everybody's wearing their mommy and me outfit, so the matching outfit. The daughter has a same color outfit as the mama. Anyway, Porsha Williams comes to this event half done. Hair looks a mess. Makeup looks a mess. She said, me and Drew share the same makeup artist. And because Drew found out that the makeup artist was supposed to head to Porsha after her, she decided to run things real late to cause Porsha to be late. Baby, when I tell you, this is what I meant by Drew being cunning. Now, Porsha talked about it and she started laughing because she knew exactly what Drew did. She even said it. That bitch tried to hold me up. She wanted me to show up late or undone. But here I am. I don't give a shit what I look like, and I'm on time. You should have cared, though, because, child, you were a hot ass mess. But I died laughing because that is true Drew Sidora fashion, okay? Drew Sidora came in looking like $1 million, though. Go ahead with your bad self. Now, back on. Let's get to Shamia and Angela Oakley, okay? So these people are supposed to talk, right? So Angela said, is there any way? Well, before that even happens, when Shamia sees Angela, she says, oh, there's Angela with the retro nose, okay? The retro nose. And then off camera, she sucked in a bunch of air so that her nose would go flat around the sides. And she said, I know I'm being petty, but I don't give a shit. Thank you, Shamia. Okay, so everybody's willing to be a villain. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Anyway, inside though, we get Angela asking Shamia if they can talk. Is it possible, not even for us to talk here, is it possible for us to talk later? And Shamia said, yeah, well, it all depends. Is it going to be you saying that you were right about the shit that Drew said? Are you taking up for Drew? And Angela said, yeah. And she said, well, there's nothing for us to talk about, bitch. I'm done. Because what you and I need to talk about is the fact that you lied on me. I'm adding this part, but the fact that you lied on me, okay, saying that I said some shit that I didn't say. And if y'all notice, I'm going to tell y'all how cool Shamia is. Shamia saw Drew Sidora, went over and hugged her and said, bitch, I'm over it. I got a problem with Angela, though. And that's all I needed to hear. You and I was the one doing the talking. And at this moment, you and I don't even have to have a problem anymore. That's between you, Porsha, and Dennis. But that bitch coming at me was the wrong move. Bravo. I loved it. Anyway, she tells her, I don't give a shit what you think. I don't care. The two of them started going back and forth. And she was like, well, does it have to be all that? Shamina, you're a mean girl. Shamina. She said, my name is Shamia. Okay. And then the next thing I know, she said, bitch, I like the Jacksons. Okay. But, well, actually, Angela called her Flavor Flav. And she said she was calling her Flavor Flav because she was the hype man to Porsha, who's Chuck D. I don't know if that was the reason she was calling her Flavor Flav, though. Y'all talk to me in the comments. Do you believe Angela was calling Shamia Flavor Flav because she thought she was being the hype man? Because even Andy Cohen said, girl, where'd you pull Flavor Flav from? And she was like, oh, he's our friend. You were doing something else. Nope. So anyway, she was like, bitch, you can call me Flavor Flav all you want to. I dressed up for Flavor Flav for Halloween, but your ass dressed up as LaToya Jackson today. And then she said, with all the money you got, that's the nose you picked. Oh, the shade. With all the money you got, that's the nose you picked. Your nose is from the 90s. She kept weighing in on that nose. And then all I remember is her saying, I like Michael Jackson. Then Porsha chimed in and went, hee hee. Like a friend is supposed to. Porsha said, hee hee. And then Shamia did a dance like she was Michael Jackson and did the point and everything. They would not take their foot off of Angela's neck. At one point, people was like, well, why are you talking about her nose though? And Porsha said, fuck the nose. Y'all act like that lady didn't call her Flavor Flav. Okay? It's an eye for an eye. Cut it the shit out. Okay? I was like, baby, yes. Yes. It was excellent. Okay? And then after all of that, we know that Angela and Shamia appear to be, they're at war. They've drawn the line. Shamia said, I'm not talking to you. Angela's going to have egg on her face when she gets to the reunion and they play that clip for her. Okay. Anyway, last scene is Drew Sidora and Porsha. And Drew gets encouraged by her sister. I don't remember her sister's name, but I do know that her sister is a fighter. She loves her younger sister, her baby sister. She went after Ralph. She's giving me Mal. Y'all remember Cynthia Bailey's sister? How Mal used to be like, I don't give a fuck who you are. Nene, Candy, I don't care who you are. I will lay hands on you over Cynthia, right? Drew Sidora's sister is the same exact way, okay? But she ends up saying, Allison, thank you. I appreciate that, Corey. Allison. They have this conversation and Allison says, you might as well just get the shit out the way. Go ahead and ask what's going on, right? And if y'all have not been paying attention, on social media, Allison went after Porsha recently, like within the last 2 weeks. And Dennis said, hey, leave baby mama alone. Okay, not too much on my baby mama, or I'm gonna have to put that album on pause. Okay, just an FYI. So they're still not good. Allison does not fuck with Porsha. Okay. But Drew ends up going over and talking to Porsha. And she's like, can we talk? And Porsha looks over with her face half did and her hair looking a damn mess. And she starts coughing, a classic Phaedra move. Look, these people are fighters. This is the shit people do to disarm people. Can we talk? Porsha starts doing all that shit like, bitch, I'm not trying to talk to you. Okay. And she was like, what? Can we not? She was like, not here. No, I don't want to talk to you. Okay. Drew seems to be insisting. Porsha looks around and she said, bitch, is that Heavy D over there? Referring to Allison, she said, this is why you have all this audacity, right? First, you tried to play me by making me come late without my hair and makeup. And now you are sitting here coming after me about some shit you did. So she's pissed. Anyway, that is how it ends. It was an amazing episode. Oh my God. The last 3 episodes have been better than almost every reality TV show I've watched last year and this year. Okay. Yeah, Porsha's a fighter. They don't call her P. Willie for nothing. But all this shit, when you disarming people, I'm looking around to see if I can find an ashtray and pop you in the head, or you know what I'm saying, or a drink and splash you in the face. That is what you do to take someone off guard, right? And Drew had her whole head down in Porsha's face. I was like, you better ease up off the pressure, get your face from out of her face. That's not what you want when you see somebody doing some shit like that. At least that's what I was taught. I don't know. But anyway, that was the show. It was great. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Okay. I still have Married to Medicine to go. So I'm going to get that up and we can talk about that on live. But make sure that every single one of y'all hit my like button on your way out. Okay. Let me see what your comments got to say. Thank you, Review Hour. I appreciate it. Y'all hit my like button on your way out. Make sure you share the video. This was a good review. According to Review Hour, I think it was a good review too. But talk to me in the comments. Follow me on all my platforms at DYANAROZAY. I appreciate every single one of y'all for rocking with me. And I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.